All right, Brent Porcio, TopVelocity.net. I'm gonna do a video here on 10 velocity killers to give you something on how the methods to developing velocity here at TopVelocity. So one that I see a lot, not a big fan of, is guys that wanna get in that traditional balance position coming out of leg lift. Why I don't like that is because when you lift and you sit here, there's really nothing to move you anywhere. You're balancing, right? So we tend to do things to create movement, like start the lift leg early, like trying to reach. We might try to lean our upper body. Now we get the upper body going first. So I don't like the concept of coming to a balance point and starting there, because like I said, there's nothing to start getting you going. That's why with guys, I actually like to keep the hips inside the legs. So when you lift, you're in a position to already start building momentum. So that'd be the first one. All right, the second velocity killer would be opening too early, kind of along the same lines of, if I'm in a balanced position, I might want to start here. So if we open early, studies show, high velocity pitchers, they will peak their hip rotation just before they land, and then they get into more open orientation. The problem with opening early is you're going to also start opening early here, and that's the issue. It's ideal when you land to be completely shoulders closed. It's going to create more torque. It's going to then help you give more time to build more lateral power and transfer more energy. So flying open is definitely a big issue. All right, another velocity killer would be just wanting to go straight down into your back leg. I guess people would say that's drop and drive, but if I just drop straight down, we have a force vector issue, which force vector is the ankle to knee. If that's not pointing this way, obviously not in a internally rotated position, but still in a externally rotated position, if it's pointing this way, when I generate force, I'm gonna go in that direction. So if I'm just squatting straight down, I've got a vertical vector. So now I have to kind of creep or get my momentum going, and at that point, I'm already coming out of the leg. So dropping straight down is not going to support good ground forces or velocity to the target. So another velocity killer would be pitching with the front leg. So coming up, big front leg, kicking front leg to get your stride, and then this guy's just laying down. This becomes more like an anchor at that point. Problem is it's really hard to create hip rotation with your front leg, because you're kind of trying to pull the door closed as opposed to drive the door closed. It's a little bit harder by throwing the lift leg out. So the key is getting the back leg to push through to create the rotation. So the guys that want to be really aggressive with the front side, they leave the back side behind, and then it weights down the hip rotation, and it doesn't really drive hip rotation well, which is, as long as you're separating, will highly correlate to ball velocity. All right, another velocity killer would be allowing the drive leg to go inward. We're not stable here. This is where we blow our MCL, ACLs out, right? We're stable in what we call torsion, twisting outward. You feel it. You got stability here. I have instability here. So lifting, guys want to pull the knees together. Well, now I'm in a collapsing back leg position, and I get a lot of power from this back leg, so that's going to hurt my velocity. All right, another velocity killer, the landing soft front leg. Studies show, it's like up to 250% of body weight. In some cases, hit front foot in your high velocity guys. So they're landing hard, and what you'll see is the force they generate off the back leg, it's picking up to the front leg, not getting softer to the front leg. So that mentality of landing soft is taken away from the ground forces that have a high correlation to ball velocity, which typically shows through the front leg stability and extension. All right, another velocity killer I'm not a big fan of is being really, really aggressive with glove side, like someone who wants to go out with the glove side and pull down really hard. What you're trying to do is you're trying to use the glove side to pull and create throwing arm rotation or energy. It's better if your legs are doing it. They're bigger, they're more explosive. You have the mound, all that energy, your stride to generate all that energy, and if your hips get ahead of your shoulder, then this is going to pull your shoulder through. We don't want this pulling the shoulder through. So any pulling of the glove side aggressively is to create the arm speeds would be a velocity killer. All right, another velocity killer would be similar to being over aggressive with your glove side, but it's starting the glove side early. So we call it early trunk rotating. Getting the glove side going and pulling specifically across your body or even down in any way where it opens the front chest and causes the arm to drag, that's going to kill velocity. It's going to force your trunk to be more rotational and not move forward. Also, too, it's going to put tremendous stress on your arm, creates arm drag, or what we call hyperangulation. Another velocity killer is that pulling down. Like once my arm cocks up, I gotta pull down to release. So if you watch the arm path of a pitcher's, when I turn, it lays back, and then as my trunk moves forward, it turns over. So the ball is actually going back to up to release. So there's the ball's going up, not really pulling down. So when you pull down, you're trying to delay the rotational movement or the internal rotation pronation by pulling down. You're delaying that movement. It's hard on your arm, and it's going to reduce velocity. It's something where if you take a drill and you're trying to do that as opposed to letting it get rid of, external rotate, internal rotate really quickly, you'll see your velocity will go down when you try to pull down as opposed to allowing it to get rid of or release quickly with your trunk. All right, the last velocity killer, which really is something that's really bothers me. It's like my pet peeve is those that want to be arm first, right? They're teaching handbrakes, get up quickly, aggressive arms, fast arms, arm first mentalities or methods are velocity killers because you're leaving the lower half behind. Once you get up and this thing gets going, your lower half's like, well, I don't have to do anything. If the arm is the last movement, then the arm's just trying to get in position to ride the body, and it works better with the body than the arm trying to do all the work, which, like I said, is gonna be a big velocity killer. All right, bonus velocity killer tip from MLB pitcher Victor Black here. Gonna give you a personal reason or issue that causes velocity, and then maybe Matt Marksberry will jump in.
My biggest thing about losing velocity and what has affected mine most over time, coming up through the systems, threw hard, didn't lift a lot, was fairly flexible, but kind of rode that out. So my biggest velocity killer would be lack of training in the off season. If you don't take it seriously, if you don't prepare, it's gonna bite you. You can get away with it when you're younger, but it is shown now, as I am almost 30, that it has come back to bite me, and I'm having to work twice as hard now just to get back to a baseline of where I was.
Like it. Matt Marksberry, MLB pitcher as well?
Same thing, but more of like, as you get older, age has a big factor in decreasing velocity. You see a lot of these guys that you probably watched on the MLB, and as they get older, their velocity goes down because as you get older, your muscles obviously don't work as well, so you got to find new ways to do it. So I mean, like people's hips get tighter.
You have more wear and tear.
More wear and tear. Your recovery time is not what it used to be, so you got to like train harder to be able to recover quicker. So.
All right, that was awesome.
And low testosterone. Yeah, I'm a tenth of the man I ought.
And there's natural ways of doing it. Another velocity killer is low testosterone. Matt, come talk to him about the testosterone.
I'm a prime example of